HASAN is streaming. HASAN,
What's going on, everybody?
I'm probably in the chat
I hope everyone's having a
right
fantastic
now.
evening,
HASAN,
fantastic afternoon, fantastic pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hassan Piker, and this is the HASAN broadcast coming to you live. We are live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is December 2nd. This is the part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news, about what's going on in the world of Hassan Piker. I have talked about this before, but I know every time I bring up something that is going on in my life, everyone goes, what? You're going to be in Londonistan? When did you say that? When did you say you were going to be in Londonistan? I don't understand. Why are you going to London? What the hell's going on? Will there be regular streams? The answer is yes, there will be regular streams. I'm going to be streaming the two talks that I'm giving both in Cambridge and also Oxford Uni. I'm going to the fucking Cambridge Union. I'm going to the fucking Oxford Union too. Both unis, lads. We're going there. We're talking about Israel, Palestine. It's going to be a fucking mix-up, right? We're going to do Tesco meal deals. We're going to get some fucking kebabs. That's right, lads. That's fucking right. But yeah, I'm doing those two things. I haven't been like super public about it. I don't want no motherfuckers to know about this shit. I don't want nobody to know what the fuck I'm up to. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to know. I also still haven't written a speech, which is crazy. It's actually fucking crazy that I have not written a speech at all. And the situation is supposed to be about, you know, I'm supposed to be talking about Israel, Palestine, and I still have not written a fucking speech. Don't say just let ChatGPT do it. So many motherfuckers have told me that as a joke. I mean, it's not going to be like a long speech. I think it's supposed to be like 5 to 10 minutes. I told them like the format is 5 to 10 minutes of speech, then a moderated Q&A, and then afterwards just like a regular old Q&A. I saw the post in my subreddit about fucking Bonercelli's fans being like, oh, I can't wait to infiltrate this speech. What are some good questions I can ask them? They're like really stoked on asking me some fucking troll ass questions. I don't know why, but you know, have fun with that, I guess. Like they literally treat me like I'm fucking Charlie Kirk, you know what I mean? Or Ben Shapiro. Like that's how big of an enemy I am to these guys, that they're like, oh, Charlie Kirk's coming to my school. What can I do? It's like, bro, what are you, the Young Americans for Freedom Foundation? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, be normal. Oh yeah, they posted this. I didn't even know that they posted this. Where is the discernment of speaker selection gone? Free Oxford from anti-Western operatives. And the anti-Israel committee continues. Is the Gestapo at the helm of the union this term? Isn't this kind of the equivalent of inviting Nick Fuentes? Such a disgraceful move. This standard has been lowered to the degree that streamers and internet boys who peddle in the shallow waters are speaking at Oxford. Taints the prestige and reputation of the institution. By the way, Ben Shapiro has spoken at Oxford Union. So I don't think it's that fucking crazy to have someone like myself speak at Oxford Union. Not sure why they think that that is like so far-fetched. Ben Shapiro himself is not that far off from myself. And also on top of that, is not exactly the most intelligent guy. Hassan Piker, also known as HASAN, is an American YouTuber and Twitch streamer. His content is based around the discussion of news, politics, social issues, and topical events. And he often uses his platform to debate controversial topics or issues. In 2023, Hassan Piker organized a fundraiser following the Turkey-Syria earthquake, which raised $1.2 million for various charities involved in searching for survivors and supporting those on the ground. I'm not a very big debate guy, as you guys know. I said yes to this because, you know, they asked like a long time ago, and also because they wanted to talk about Israel-Palestine. Bassem Youssef has been on it. Bassem Youssef had been on it as well. Talks about Piers Morgan and why Arab Americans seem to prefer Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean, they've had like Anthony Scaramucci, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like they're as serious as people will place it, as people would claim it is. And then Cambridge Union came out as well 5 days ago. Cambridge Union is excited to announce that we will be joined by Hassan Piker on Wednesday, the 4th of December. Hassan is one of the leading voices that bridges a young digital generation, progressive politics, and culture. After getting his start on the Young Turks, he began streaming on Twitch in 2018, where he became an early pioneer of live stream social commentary. The show Hassan has built on Twitch now boasts over 110 million views and was the most watched channel across the platform in 2022. We'll also be hosting a balloted meet and greet with Hassan after the main event ends. Keep an eye out on our social media for more details on how to sign up for it. No bags allowed. Attendees must be present and then membership card upon entry. Number one champagne socialist. Wow, this guy's the least representative of any political reasoning. Bizarre invite. The coping and seething is delicious. Yeah, it's very odd that people just lose their fucking minds over it. Hassan coming to my university. What question do I ask? Don't ask him about destiny. He'll just use it as an opportunity to dismiss you. Better to find some disgusting quote of his, read it out loud, and ask him what he meant by it. I agree with this. Just quote his Tibet take and ask, do you believe that Britain has the right to civilize those African nations? Probably will be good to read more about Tibet at the time. Wait, you don't even know anything about Tibet? Although it's relatively hard to have good sources, it seems like slavery was largely on its way out. The only thing they care about is just basically like dominating me in their minds. Like, they just don't have any fucking firmly held convictions whatsoever. Like, it's pretty funny. First of all, this is about Israel-Palestine. If you have some questions on that front, you can do that if you like. What's your Tibet take? My Tibet take was that the original practice of serfdom and slavery in Tibet, instituted by the Dalai Lama, was not good. And that the Tibetans, alongside the Chinese forces, rose up and abolished slavery. Tibet being a autonomous region of under the control of the Chinese Empire even before Mao, does not change this dynamic. Previous Chinese empires did not give a shit that they were doing slavery. Mao did, and they liberated Tibet. Now, the current form, the current Hanification, or not even necessarily Hanification, but like the current existing relations of Chinese sovereignty over Tibet, that's a controversial subject, and I totally understand why people are frustrated by it. And also in the process, a lot of people were, slaughtered. Having said that, however, the British equivalent between the caste system does not work in the same way, because the English came in, said that they were actually abolishing the caste system, or said the caste system was barbaric, but then utilized the caste system to their advantage. The Chinese governance did not do that. Also, depending on the audience, I'm not sure how well liked Ukraine is in Cambridge. Like, they don't even care. Brother, if you have a disagreement with me on my commentary on Ukraine, you could just like bring that up. I don't know why these guys are literally like, oh, find something that the audience will hate him for. This basically shows that you don't care about the issue at all. Like, you don't have a genuinely held point. You don't have a genuinely held conviction on this issue. You haven't even done like any reading beyond the fact that you've seen like bad faith generalizations about like what my position is. And you think that like, I'm not going to be able to have a conversation with you in front of a large audience when, this is going to play itself out in a similar fashion to like a gray name. When I prepare to debate someone, I don't simply look at like shit that is going to undermine their worldview. Although, that definitely is something I look at. The reason why I do that is because on first principles, and also on top of that, like their ideological worldview is directly diametrically opposed to mine. That's why I want to have this discussion to begin with. Because I have a position and they have a position. My job in that conversation is to basically showcase the lack of intellectual depth in their position. If your goal here is to simply, troll and masquerade your trolling as though it's some genuine intellectual concern, this is the wrong way to go about it. Imagine having the opportunity to talk to me in person and this is what you're going to do. Like, you're just going to you don't have your own opinions on this matter at all. Like, you haven't even thought about like what my position is. You might be curious about what my position is on a particular matter. And instead you're just like, can you guys give me talking points? Like, that's kind of lame. The question you should ask yourself is, are you diametrically opposed to my worldview? Are you genuinely on the opposing team? And if the answer is yes, how have you arrived at this? I don't think a lot of people understand that if you don't have a real POV on these matters, okay, if you don't have like a real, genuine, firmly held opinion on this matter, and you just come at it with like whatever fucking clips that you've seen that you've misunderstood, you're not going to get your point across. It's not going to look amazing for you. You have to flip it. Don't use a quote as a way to attack him. Instead, praise him for it. I recently got into an argument with a friend of mine who believes that Tibet should be independent from China. You rightly pointed out that China brought modern civilization and culture to them, as they were basically barbarians before China uplifted them. As though I would agree with this framing. I would not agree with this framing at all. I genuinely don't understand why they think this is like an expert, 5-head level of infiltration. Like, I would never fucking agree with that framing. However, he felt that it wasn't a reason to justify China's rule. What do you think I should say to convince him? I would say that China should not rule over Tibet. And if the Tibetan people want full-blown autonomy, that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, they have to be dominated by the Chinese. But if you're talking about like historical analysis in terms of, freeing Tibet from the throes of feudalism, yeah, that act I do not have a disagreement with. I have often been very critical of Hanification initiatives in general. This was a massive problem with the USSR as well. One of the most significant aspects of the USSR was Russification. Not only is it inappropriate, it's inhumane, but it's also unsuccessful. So I'm not in favor of Hanification either. Also, ask about if the conditions of Uyghurs are genocide. Maybe bring up Palestinians first. Imagine saying that in a fucking room like the Oxford Union setting to bring up the conditions of the Uyghurs, not knowing what I have, not knowing what my opinion is on this matter at all, assuming that it's like, oh yeah, it's great. China should dominate them, assuming that that's my position, and then simultaneously comparing that to what fucking Israel is doing. Really? What Israel's doing in Gaza? It does not meet the standards of genocide, and what China has done in Xinjiang is like infinitely worse. Is this the argument that we're having right now? This is insane. This comparison is ridiculous. Chinese practices in Xinjiang were mass surveillance and re-education camps. These are completely unacceptable acts, okay, upon an entire generation of Uyghur Muslims in this area, claiming that there were separatist extremists. And there were certainly some separatist extremists, but that doesn't justify dragnets. That doesn't justify mass surveillance. And that certainly doesn't justify re-education. The notion that like this is comparable to what Israel has done is fucking insane. If, ironically enough, Israel was doing what China did in Xinjiang, in Gaza and the West Bank, I would still be very critical of it in the same way that I was when China did it in Xinjiang. But the entire world would applaud how fucking tolerant and how open-minded the Israeli society was. Like, did China bomb every fucking part of Xinjiang? Like, what are you talking? What are you saying? Belgium civilizing the Congo is better because the Belgians used the abolition of slavery to stake their claims? Yeah, dude, totally. Belgians actually maintained the practice of slavery. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It was ruthless. It was brutal. It was one of the most brutal continuations of chattel slavery. Relate Tibet to Palestine in the question if you really want to stir the pot. But I think this is definitely one of the more on its face damning things I've heard him say. It would be my choice if I ever had the opportunity to confront him. Like, these guys don't know anything about Tibet, don't care about it at all, don't understand what my position is on Tibet, and simply are just like, this is a great opportunity to fucking attack him. That's it. They're like plotting out a dialogue tree here. If this was something that you were like very well versed on and you felt like I missed the mark on a point of my commentary, that's totally valid. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, my family is from Tibet, you know? And, this is what I studied in college. Like, I don't fully understand where you're coming from. And you came at it with charitability. Like, I can have a normal conversation with you. But this right here is just like so openly disingenuous where you're just like, I don't know anything about Tibet. And I don't really understand what HASAN's position was on the matter, but I'm going to try to hit this in the worst possible, least charitable framing and try to fucking duke it out in the marketplace of ideas. And it's so funny because like, I'm not even there to talk about China. Like, I'm not even there to talk about China. Why the fuck am I talking about China? I don't give a shit. I have no control over China. I barely have control over my own goddamn government. And every time I try to get my government to fucking stop the pain and stop the hemorrhaging and stop the violence, they go, shut the fuck up. I think I disagree. If you mention Israel, Palestine, he will pivot towards you're just saying Israel bad and you're denying the genocide in Palestine. And my guess is the audience are similar in his beliefs about destruction of Israel, so they will selectively hear. Notice how none of this is about like genuinely held positions and real disagreements. That's the difference. If this conversation was being held in a like openly right-wing, Ben Shapiro style audience, there would be plenty of disagreements. People would be like, ask him about, there'd still be a lot of dumb shit like, oh, ask him about how inconsistent it is that he's a socialist but also wealthy. So that's number one. They would do dumb shit like that. But ultimately, there would be some disagreements, right? There would be some real disagreements like, why doesn't he believe that fucking, I don't know, free markets are good or some shit like that? These guys literally don't even know why they disagree with me. They don't even know. They've just been primed into believing that I have this other opinion on an issue that they've never thought about or cared about before or after this very moment. There is no ideology here. It's just like, fuck us on and that's it. Like, they literally are like, I don't even give a fuck about Israel Palestine. Like, I know I have my own personal opinions on it, but I know that if I fucking brought that up, it would look bad. It would make you look bad if you were to say you're pro-Israel. Brother, look at this conversation that you are finding yourself in. Look at this. Imagine him being so obsessed to mention DGG in Cambridge to a room full of normies that have no idea what DGG is, blaming it on like it was CIA, fucking Kino and Derage. First of all, I would not do that. And secondly, you're literally saying that. DDG is openly fantasizing about how they're gonna do this, and then they're like, ooh, he's so obsessed. He's so obsessed if he recognizes the thing that we're doing in this thread. Ask why he drove drunk over and over. What? All these confrontational ones are silly and will do more than make him look like a renegade, which is part of his brand. Just ask him about what Mark said about X or Y or Deleuze or Schumpeter or Henry George or whoever's response to it, and he won't anything of substance to say because he doesn't know much at all about the tradition he LARPs is coming from. That would require you to actually know something about Marx. DG will read Marx if it allows them to own HASAN, as they should. Sorry, but there's a reason his influence on so many strains of thought across so many fields of study to this day is undeniable. I like that this guy is Marx pilling these fucking weirdos. And you don't simply need to be a Soviet simp or really a Marx of any kind to seriously engage with this. You do yourself no favors by cherry picking weaker parts to dismiss the whole output. Yeah, I mean, he's played a very formative role in an entire field called sociology. So I think that pretty valid to learn more about this way of thinking, I think. I really appreciate your consistent support of the Palestinian sovereignty, seeing as tensions have risen between China and Taiwan and Trump coming in. I'm scared that he won't intervene in this conflict before it's too late. Why are the conservatives in the U.S. government against advocating for the Taiwanese people to help them keep their land? Glaze, plus he will either have to say China bad, Uyghurs, Hong Kong, anti-democracy, which is bad for tankies because more U.S. intervention, or he will have to say one country, two systems like he did on Leftovers and look like a fool because how can you justify what China is doing well? Bonus points if he says that and you follow up with, but we wouldn't accept that solution for Israel-Palestine because then China would be like Israel. I'm so sad about the stupidity and the lack of intellectual curiosity in this community that is supposed to love these kinds of like heated debates and discussions. For a community that that believes that the truth only comes out in the marketplace of ideas against interlocutors, they seemingly spend a good amount of time trying to actively suppress parts of their brain that might actually, listen to things in a more charitable fashion and perhaps even understand a very different way of looking at the world. Also, it's pretty funny because it's like, I'm a one-stater, so I guess one state for Taiwan and China in their fucking worldview. I don't know. He's not equipped to answer any substantial question based on what I've seen from him. He was a double major in political science and communication studies, but only on the bachelor level. Communication studies is mostly nothing burger to begin with. Although political science is more substantial, I say its influence is overblown compared to the expertise they bring. But what bothers me most is his attitude. He acts like he knows everything, does no research, and is overconfident in the little he knows. Not really the attitude of a guy you can learn from. I have no idea what your school administrators are thinking. It's like inviting Tucker Carlson for a talk. They have invited Tucker Carlson to a talk. A fan of a music school dropout? Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to shit on Divorcelli dropping out of music school. I don't really care about that shit. You can be like an empathetic person without a college degree who has like firmly held convictions, a decent moral compass that guides your politics, and an interest to do better for your fellow man. And I'll be right by your side, you know? I'll be there for you. Like, my degree doesn't make me more valid. Ben Shapiro graduated from fucking Harvard Law. He went to UCLA for undergrad and then Harvard Law. These are some of the best institutions in the country. It doesn't really matter. Your background and your educational attainment does not matter to me even a little bit. I don't care about that shit at all. I know plenty of dumbasses that went to some of the best schools, and I know plenty of brilliant people that went to no school. My disagreements with Destiny stem from the way he tackles certain issues and the way he positions himself in every conversation, and the genuine lack of intellectual curiosity that fosters in his own community. I don't think his community understands that either. Like, I get very frustrated about that because they just completely fucking shut off certain points of contention.